This video is going to talk about odds. Now, odds are not the same thing as probability. Odds of an event occurring are the ratio of favorable outcomes to unfavorable outcomes, whereas probability is favorable outcomes to total number of outcomes. So odds in favor of an event and the odds against an event can be found using these formulas. So odds in favor and odds against of an event. So odds in favor are the number of favorable outcomes to the number of unfavorable outcomes. Odds against are the number of unfavorable outcomes to the number of favorable outcomes. Basically, guys, it's what you do and don't want. So if it's the favorable to the unfavorable, together the numerator and denominator together have to add up to the total. So odds are usually expressed in the form of A to B or A colon B. So they're in a ratio. For example, the odds in favor of getting a 4 when rolling a number cube are 1 to 5. Also read 1 to 5 using a colon. What we want is the 4. That's one number. So there's 5 numbers on that dice that we don't want. 1 plus 5 equals the total of the 6 numbers on the dice. So it says, example 1, what are the odds of rolling a 3 on a 6-sided number cube? Since there's only one way to roll a 3, the numerator of the ratio would be 1, and since there are 5 ways that a 3 will not come up, rolling 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6, the denominator of the ratio would be a 5. So it's the same as the example above. What we want is the 3. There are 5 other numbers that we don't want or that are unfavorable to us. So the ratio would be 1 to 5 of what we want. Example 2 says, what are the odds of picking a queen out of a standard deck of cards? How many queens are there? Because queens are what we want. There are 4 of them. But how many cards are in that deck that we don't want? We don't want the queen, or we don't want everything else that's not a queen. So the 52 cards minus those 4 queens that we want leaves us with 48 cards that we don't want. So that reduces to 1 over 12, or 1 to 12. So let's look at our practice example. It says a bag contains 3 red marbles, 4 green marbles, 7 blue, 1 yellow, and 2 white. So altogether, that's a total of 17 marbles. So what are the odds of picking a red marble? Okay, so there are 3 red marbles, right? So 3 would be our favored outcome. But how many total marbles are there? There's 17. So that means there's 14 marbles in there that we don't want or that are unfavorable. So 3 to 14, or you can write it 3 over 14. The numerator plus the denominator, 3 plus 14, equals the total of the 17 marbles that we have. B, it says, what are the odds of picking a green marble? So how many green marbles are there? 4. So it will be 4. There's the green marbles are the ones we want. There's 17 total, so 17 minus 4 leaves us with 13 marbles that we don't want. So 4 to 13. And lastly, what are the odds of picking a blue marble? So how many blue marbles are there? 7. So 7 would be the favored number. 7 marbles are the ones we want. So 14 minus 7 leaves us with 10 that would be unfavored. So 7 to 10 would be our odds of picking a blue marble out of our bag or our container. So that's really all there is, guys, to finding the odds of something. The total of what we do want over the total of what we don't want, or the favored to the unfavored. So let's flip over and we'll do D, E, and F yet of this problem. So what are the odds of picking the yellow marble? There are how many yellow marbles? 1. So it's going to be 1 to 16. What are the odds of picking a white marble? 2 to 15. What are the odds of picking a black marble? Impossible odds because there are no black marbles in your bag. Okay, scrolling down to the bottom of your page for number 3, it says 5 marbles in a jar are green. The odds against choosing a green marble are 4 to 1. So, odds against are 4 to 1. So, if you flip-flop that, that's going to give you the odds in favor of picking green. Whoops. So, 1, 2, 4. Because the numerator and denominator just switch. So, how many marbles are there in a jar? Okay. The beginning of our sentence, or the beginning of our question, says that 5 marbles in the jar are green. So if your odds in favor are 1 to 4, the top is going to be green, and the bottom is going to be anything that's not green. So we can set up a ratio. So 1 to 4 is going to equal the 5 green marbles out of the total number of not green marbles in the jar. And then we just do cross multiplication. So 5 times 4 is 20, and 1 times x is 1x. So you would divide both sides by 1, and you would get x equals 20. So if our ratio is 5 to 20, that means that there are 25 marbles total. Oops. So just remember that odds in favor are what we want over what we don't want, and odds against are what we don't want over top of what we do want. So it's really just the reciprocals of each other. So go ahead, guys, and try the practice problems and let me know if you need help.